The funding for this video is provided by the amazing members of our Patreon. Also contributions from viewers like you. Thank you. Yeah, I started from PBS Kids. What you gonna do? Fight me? Anyway, roll the video. So, some of y'all may have noticed that I stopped making videos about the franchise Miraculous Ladybug. Now, some of you guys are confused as to why I stopped making those videos, and the answer is literally in a video that I made talking about writing. It's called The Chain of Mediocrity. I would have a link down below. Mind you, that video ranked 10 out of 10 in YouTube Creator Studio, so it hit me that a lot of y'all just did not watch it. It's whatever. I'm not really that concerned about that, but if you want me to go more into detail over there as to why I no longer make videos about the show and only really talk about it in passing here and there, the link to that will be down below. But the overall reason why I just stopped making videos about Miraculous Ladybug is because this franchise is so freaking strange when it comes to the subject of blackness and just people of color in general. But here I'm particularly talking about blackness because one, I am a black woman, and two, it's honestly concerning how this franchise always finds some kind of way to be anti-black. There's so many fucking things that I can go on about with this series being anti-black, but here we are talking about the subject of colorism. Mind you, colorism is something that does not only affect black people. That is something that I wish a lot of people would understand. But here, Miraculous Ladybug is colorist overall, but here with this instance of colorism, we have a character by the name of Max. Max is the darkest character that we see in this show, and he's also the most unambiguous compared to like a lot of the other black characters or the characters with darker skin that are within this series. He has the kinky hair, he is dark skinned, he looks very much black, okay? So in the Awakening movie, which I know was renamed to Ladybug and Cat Noir the movie, I'm not watching it. Don't ask me to make a video on it because I told y'all I'm done making full-on videos about this franchise. We end up seeing that first of all, Max was barely in the film, which is no surprise because as I mentioned how Max is literally one of the darkest characters in this show, this series actually has no idea what they want to do with them, on top of the fact that when Max is in his superhero form, his skin is lightened. In the Awakening movie, Max looks completely different. He is a lot lighter than what he is in canon, and also his hair texture is made to be a little bit looser. They done gave him a texturizer, alright? If you're not black, you probably don't even understand what that reference means. But anyway, when I saw that, I just genuinely got pissed off because it just hit me that this franchise will always have an issue with blackness and finding ways to pick at it. And they just simply don't want to understand that there's a problem here, nor do they actually want to sit here and listen to the black people. So you know what I want to do? Instead of sitting here and getting angry about colorist ass shit that goes on within the animation, I want to sit here and talk about a franchise that actually battled colorism, and I think they handled it very well. So today we are sitting here and we're going to be talking about the series Amphibia. Mind you that Amphibia is a series that I kind of see like a lot of the same takes go over and over again with this series. And mind you that Amphibia ended in 2022. 2024 is a few months away. So I really want to add something new to the table and talk about something that was brought to my attention when I was having like conversation with people about the subject of how animation has a colorism problem. And someone had mentioned along the lines that Amphibia is one of those few shows that they feel like didn't have an issue with colorism, and I do agree. Now the fandom, that's a whole nother subject, that's a whole nother discussion. I'm talking about the actual production of Amphibia. While there was that weird anti-black thing that they had within the series with like the minstrel caricature in the background that I made a video about for last year's Disney-cember, I will have the link to that down below. Aside from like that instance of anti-blackness, and RuPaul is, that's a whole other topic for another discussion, I do want to sit here and praise Amphibia for doing something that we don't really often see in Western media, and honestly just media in general, because this is a problem out there in anime. So if you guys don't know what Amphibia is about, Amphibia is basically a series that focuses on a girl named Anne Buchoi, and she is basically transformed to the frog land of Amphibia. People just call it the frog show, and that's just basically all you need to know. But it's basically her coming of age tale of her, you know, learning responsibility and to be a better person and whatnot, because Anne for the most part is very lost and she doesn't really know like much. Like, and honestly, Anne is not the brightest, she's not the brightest flower in the bunch. Let's just go ahead and say that. But as the series goes on and progress, we slowly start to see her become a better person. We start to see her stand up for herself. We start to see her be a lot more kind. It's honestly a beautiful tale. I love Amphibia. And mind you, my ass was sitting here watching Amphibia in 2019 when none of y'all watched it. Because somebody was trying to talk to me like I ain't never seen the series before, like in 2022, like when it ended. And I was like, baby, I've been there from the beginning. I've been there from the beginning. Like, before I would get ready to go to my college classes, I literally would be here in the morning on Disney XD watching Amphibia. Like, don't play with me. But mind you, like, the biggest deal of it all that I feel like is a big deal when it comes to animation, because animation is very much white. I made an entire video talking about how animation has a white man problem. The main character, Anne, she is an Asian girl. And usually when we see a lot of things when a main character is Asian, she is very much a light bright. She is very much light skinned. Anne is a dark-skinned Asian girl. She is Thai specifically, and that is something that we often don't really see much in Western media, and that being darker skinned people of color. Like, that's part of the reason why I deeply appreciated Lilo and Stitch, because while those characters were of darker skin, they were also non-black people of darker skin. And one thing a lot of people don't seem to understand is that black people are not the only people in this world that can be dark skinned of darker skin. Because when you look at a lot of these pictures of Asia and whatnot, we see a lot of this very light skin, like I said, very light, bright, and pale people. But then you see the side of Asia that they don't want to show you, and those are the people that are darker, the ones that are actually dark skinned. Those are things that they often want to leave out. But when Amphibia, what is so interesting about this to me is that usually when we have like characters where we have like the dark skinned girl or like the dark skinned character in general, they usually would be like the sideline character, and that the main one would be like white or light skinned or whatnot. Here with Amphibia, the main character was literally Anne, the darkest one of her friend group, which was Marcy, who is Asian, and Sasha, who is white. Some people say that Sasha's Asian, some people say that Sasha's white. Comment down below what Sasha race is, because I just genuinely don't know, because some people say that she's Asian and then some people say she's white. So comment down below what she is. Anyway, Anne is literally the darkest one of the three of them, and this is her story, and it solely focuses on her. While yes, we do get to see more into the lives of Sasha and Marcy, everything is mainly focused on Anne, and that is something that I fully appreciate, because dark-skinned girls in general get like horrible representation, and they get treated so poorly within the entertainment industry in general. And for them to finally have a show where they are the main focus and it is about them most of the time, that's important. That's great, because when I sit here and I think of a lot of the other dark-skinned characters in the past from shows that I have watched, like Bumblebee from Teen Titans, or Susie Carmichael from Rugrats, or Miranda from As Told by Ginger, even though her character has issues that we can talk about at another time. But even thinking back to like Hey Arnold, and thinking back to Max from like Miraculous Ladybug, literally one of the darkest characters in the show, while we do have that dark skin representation within these series, they usually are like the side characters. They usually are the characters that are seen as like not as important as the main one, or the story mainly focuses back on that person that is the light-skinned one. Amphibia, everything was about Anne. Everything was about here, there, and it was just very refreshing to see. Now, I have some notes here, and I kind of want to read word for word with them, but I said I feel like Anne being dark-skinned is a big deal, because dark-skinned Asian people deserve to see themselves in cartoons just like everyone else. And yeah, but one thing I liked about it is that like it wasn't made out to be a joke with her appearance. And that's one thing I genuinely like, because usually oftentimes when we have like these darker skinned characters and whatnot, they usually get like colorist comments made to them about like their hair or their skin color and whatnot. And I really do enjoy the fact that that wasn't the case with Anne, specifically when it came to her being around humans, because there even was one scene where Anne defended her culture, because there was this white girl that was trying to talk about Anne's Thai food, and Anne put that little bitch in check, and I was like, you get her, girl. Because somebody had even said something we were talking about when it comes to fans of Amphibia, we can't stand when they tend to draw Anne to be a lighter shade, because we were like, her being darker skin, her being a dark skinned Asian person literally is important to her character. Because I don't know how hard it was for them to get it approved with Anne being that dark, but people need to understand that people in Hollywood, like people of color in Hollywood, literally have to fight for the littlest things to be put in their works. It may have been a hard deal to make Anne dark skinned. It may have been pretty easy, but for us to finally get a dark skinned Asian character to be the main character of the series is a big deal, because like I said, people are very colorist. And oftentimes part of the reason why these shows want to make their leads of color be racially ambiguous and light skinned or white for the most part is because they feel like that is going to rack in the numbers and that's going to rack in the views. Mind you, Amphibia, like I said, I was there when nobody watched the show, and then it like literally blew up out of nowhere during the pandemic. Amphibia is a show about a dark-skinned Asian girl, and it was very much successful. That goes to show you that why stories like this matter. And part of the reason why so many people of color appreciated Amphibia was because the main character was not a freaking light bright. But like I said, people have every right to get mad at people who draw fan art of Anne where they make her 4 shades lighter than what she is, because there's absolutely nothing wrong with her being light skinned. And one thing I deeply appreciate about Amphibia is that all the times when we watch these shows with these characters, calling out Miraculous, Ladybug again, we see that the black characters or the characters of like people of color of darker skin, we see that their skin tones like change like over time. We see like their skin tones change over time and shit like that, and they become like lighter as time passes, because that's literally what happened with Max. And stay consistent the entire time, because I even talked about this when it came to Susie Carmichael with Rugrats. And All Grown Up, she was lightened. But honestly, what's so sad is that like Amphibia came out like in 2019, and I know because like I said, I was one of the 30 people that watched it back then, and within like the last 5 years, this is one of those shows where it feels like we're finally starting to see a reflection of the real world, because dark-skinned Asian people exist, and guess what? They deserve to see themselves within the media that is presented in front of us. Like, I kid you not, I'm not even trying to be funny, because somebody had said something to me where I realized a lot of y'all just genuinely don't know, but I was talking about dark-skinned people, and I wasn't talking about black people. Somebody got mad at me and was like, this is just the problem with black people, I don't know what you're talking about. And I was like, okay, either one, you're just fucking stupid, or you just genuinely don't seem to understand that black people are not the only people in this world who can be dark-skinned. And I feel like I said, a lot of our media has to do with that, because a lot of people genuinely don't seem to understand that not just black people can be of darker skin. There are a lot of Asian people that are of darker skin. There's a lot of Asian people that are my skin color. There's a lot of Asian people that are darker than me. It's normal. That's the world we live in. Because I remember somebody was trying to go off on me one time about Velma. Mind you, I had no opinions about Velma, mainly because the way y'all was acting was, I didn't want to get involved with that shit. But there was somebody was going off on me talking about, I find it disgusting as fuck that they made Velma a black person. And I was like, first of all, Velma's Indian. So I think you just genuinely don't seem to know that black people are not the only people that can be that dark. Like, it's just a lot of ignorances that go on, but also I just feel like because our world has failed us, and a lot of people genuinely just aren't exposed to how so many different people look. But yeah, that's pretty much all I had to say for this. I'm trying to get back into doing like my videos like how I used to be, because like I said, I don't want to get into it, because if I just start talking about it, I'm going to start crying or whatnot. But I have been dealing with a lot, and it's just kind of been hard for me to get work done and whatnot. But I am thankful and I am very much appreciative of all of you. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. It was nice to get on here and talk about Amphibia again, but part of the reason why I didn't really want to talk about Amphibia all that much on the channel is simply because I didn't want to feel like I was rehashing a lot of the same takes out here. And y'all know when it comes to my channel, we genuinely talk about the subject of race with like children's media and cartoons and whatnot. And I was like, you know what, this is something I don't think I've seen a lot of people talk about, so let's go ahead and go into detail about that, like how I talked about the entire minstrelsy thing. While Amphibia is not a perfect show and it still did what am I trying to say? Did have its issues with anti-blackness, with the entire clown situation, I will praise it when it's due. They had a dark-skinned Asian girl as the main character, and that is great to see. I really do hope you all appreciated this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. My Instagram is there. You guys like to follow me. That's the social media platform that I am on the most, and that is also where I post like all of my cosplay content. I have a Patreon, completely optional. I have a blog on my website. I have a shop. All of that will be linked down below. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and have a good day, night, or whatever time you are watching this. I'm just thankful you watched it. All right, goodbye.